guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we have Ink in the Blood by Smejkal. I hope I said that name wrong. One performance can change your destiny. So this is the book, so the second book I got caught on the kind of the synopsis. I really liked it, and obviously didn't know this. The first book was this one. So tattoos and all blonde, very different. So this is the front cover, and here's the back. So Celia Sand and her best friend Anya Bertoni are inklings for the esteemed rebellion of Perfetta. Using magic, only tattoo followers with beautiful images represent the divines will that guide the actions of the recipients. It's considered a noble calling, but 10 years into the servitude, Celia and Anya know the truth. Perfetta is built on lies, and the tattooed orders strip away freedom, and the revered attempt at its actual brutal torturous prison. The opportunity to escape arrive with the rebel mob, a traveller theatre troupe. Using the Inkling's ability to perform instead of propaganda, Celia and Anya are content for the first time until they realise who followed them. The divine they never believed is real and very angry and determined to use Celia, Anya and the rebel mob, now in famous days, to spread her default influence even further, to protect their new family from wrath of maleficent deity and zealot who works in her name. Celia and Anya must unmask the biggest lie of all, Perfetta itself. So, we do have, of course, a map. The map is like, I love seeing a map in a book because you can always go back through the book of like, okay, so where's this place? What was it called? And this is so different, and I like it. And then we have this. So on page 23, it says, "I'm sorry your skin has to be my canvas. Forgive me for marking you up and affecting the course of your life." I'm like, wow, that sounded rude, but then again, it was really good. So kicking things off with what I liked about this book, there was a fair amount, one of my favourite fantasy stories elements that cropped up fairly enough. So I don't normally like go for troop kind of groups, like circus kind of things, because it's not one of my things, but this is a divine one. I was a little worried when I saw that this book was meant to be about faith, which means a religion, fancy that, and this can commit a book that can look at the dangers of blind faith as well as the power, positive or negative, that faith and belief can have. It's a heavy topic to take on, especially in a YL, but the author handles it well. Having such a critical main character definitely helps. Onto the characters, because that was another thing I enjoyed. Celia and Anya are great protagonists. I like that while there is romance within the story, the primary focus feels as though it's firmly set on their friendship and how it's affected by the actions. They play off against one another without feeling as they are opposed for a sake, which is a great thing in my book. Especially given that they come out of the same situation, it makes more sense for their motives to be aligned. The strong friendship is what carries this book, in my opinion. Not all to that important tattooing elements, which is definitely the hook of this book. I'm still holding out for a book that is grounded in the real world tattoo culture. I think it's an interesting subject to look into. This book isn't that, but nevertheless the tattooing element is worth reading. In this world, the Inklings are tasked with crafting magical tattoos that can push onto people. Tattoos are supposed to convey the message of goddess. What I found out most compelling is the way that Celia and the others try to create somewhat an ambiguous tattoo that means one thing or another. It is considerate of what tattoos can mean. That really made the world building element shine. I have to say this was stupendously amazing, and I might have wanted to be what I wanted more from the world building and the magic, and maybe less more from the romance. But then that might just be me. I'm still on the quest for a great tattoo book, but this book was definitely something you can read in. And again, I actually enjoyed the book. Like I said, I don't go for like circus kind of thing ones or kind of inky ones with tattoos and everything, but this like the second book really had me going like, oh, okay, I really want to know what's going on. And of course it happens. Here it is. Ta-da, I got you. So yes, it was really enjoyable and I enjoyed it so much. So Curse of the Divine is up next with this kind of book. If we know when it comes to a series or duology or blah blah, it will come into one book, one side. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Bye. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we have The Curse of the Divine. This is the second book of Ink in the Blood, and it's by Oops. Looks like a bit of a candle went onto it. So this is the cover, which I love. It's kind of like background, the bright yellow popping, and you've got the red in the back. One illusion can change your reality. So it's on the side. Praise for ink in the blood. And then we have just a black canvas with gold writing on the spine, which looks so cool. So, we both know our battle isn't over, Inkling. Celia's hand faced Diana Valley and won, using ink magic to destroy the corrupted rebellion of Perfetta that had tormented her for decades. Now winning came at cost. Now Celia is plagued with guilt over her friend or the death of her best friend. When she discovers that Divya is still very much alive and threatening Griffin, the now infamous plague doctor, Celia is now desperate to lose another person she loves to the deity's wrath. The key is destroying Diva. Melee with Heraclon Ronya, the only other person to face Divya and survive. But Heraclon is dangerous and has a secret of his own, one that involves the ink that Celia has come to hate. Forced to choose between the ink and Divya, Celia will do anything to save Griffin, even if it means making a deal with the devil himself. So, of course, in the book, we go for our lovely little map, which we all love. And then I have this little thing that says on here, another dawn brings shadow, full of creeping things and claws, and our love for each other, starving us, nourishing, has found its perfect home. That, I was like, oh, hello, that was different. So overall, I had a pretty good time with this book. I'll say that from the off, I found it more entertaining sequin from the first book, because I could remember some pretty world changing things happening at the end of the first book, and I wasn't expecting the book to remind me of the fairly early on. I do think you can read this without a reread of the first book, but my gut says you need to get a better sense of the Celia's character development, and simply because normally pans out. So these hoping for mild magic, specifically around tattoo, might be disappointed in the reading this book, although again, the events of the book one might have tipped you off that. But it's not to say the book doesn't have magic, because it does. I very rarely find a book that totally shakes up its own magic system. In book 2, I was slightly concerned it was going to have work. In the case, I think that because there is a clear connection of the magic in the blood, and also because we see Celia learning more about this magic, it doesn't feel totally jarring or separated from book 1. I was sad to not get much continuation of the side characters from the first book. In fact, you only get Celia and Griffin. That's not to say I don't like both of them as characters. It's not my favourite thing when sequel ditches most of the things that were set up in the previous book. I do think that the setup for the book is eerie and atmospheric, but a great way it would be nice to have some of the performance aspects of the previous book to come into play. Those who invested in the romance of the series was not likely to be disappointed. I had forgotten the way the book tackles gender identity, where a visible significant that most people has helped no one to determine which pronouns you ought to use. It's an interesting take, and I thought it was a cool way of including multiple gender identities within a story that wasn't really about that. I mean, it's a fantasy world that, after all, why not make it simpler than here in reality? I'm not running around the streets cheering, and this is amazing. But to be honest, I really enjoyed it. It was quite supportive, which is sometimes all I want. Overall, my impression was that it was a good read for those who adore the first book. I think I would say it's a series worth reading if you captured your attention. And thus, I am still waiting for a book that is attempting just a book that really goes pop in the whistle, you know? Just that to it going, hello, this is what it comes to. But again, I enjoyed the second book as well, and go and give it a try, guys, because for me, I wouldn't go for this book. The synopsis sounded great, but then reading throughout the book, it definitely just changes your suspects. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Bye.